What's the fuck it, no one will ever notice of your profession?
Theater props, fuck it, it looks fine from 6 feet away. Alternatively, fuck it, it's on stage for like 30 seconds anyway. Quote. My technical director for school is like this. One time I pointed out to her that you could see a bit of the back of the set from a seat on a far end and she was just like, we're not even going to have 100 people in the audience, so they shouldn't be sitting there in the first place. I did some college basketball PA announcing. When it was a packed house and a guy on our team hit a big three-pointer or did a spectacular dunk, the crowd would go off. Yelling his name over the PA just added to the frenzy. So I took a chance and started yelling the player's nickname over the PA at those huge moments. I chatted with the coach, then several fans, and realized they never heard it, just that something was being said. So I realized you could yell anything over the PA after an impact play and it worked the same, helping keep the crowd whipped into a frenzy. Some of the things I yelled. Zippity-doo-dah, happy holidays, boom goes the dingbat, my wife is sexy AF, super duper Mini Cooper, I'm eating pizza later. And so on. Edit. I will now use thanks for the gold Reddit in a future PA exclamation.
Radio. One of my colleagues, when doing the traffic report, would ignore places she couldn't pronounce or didn't know the translation for. So there could be a huge pileup, and she wouldn't mention it.
Retail, standing in the back and pretending to look for something. Normally this only happens if the customer is a dick. Yesterday at work this lady was screaming my name at the top of her lungs because she wanted help. I had already helped her in every way possible and she was panicking because she couldn't find a pair of something in the color she wanted. We don't have that color, lady. I hid in the fitting rooms for 20 minutes.
Teaching. Everyone gets a 5/5 for this assignment. I don't feel like reading, grading, or handing back. Edit. I think it's funny that most of the other comments are met with humor and understanding, but I'm getting some critical questions. I just want to remind everyone that teachers are human beings who will have moments of screw it too. I'm not advocating that this is the way it should always be. Edit 2. I don't do this with term papers. Only sometimes with bell ringers, do-nows, sub-plans, homework, and exit slips. If I did it on a large project, that would be bad. Legal transcriptionist. The lawyers are all talking over each other, so I'll just throw in an inaudible tag cuz it's not like the defendant who wanted this for their records is ever actually gonna read it.
Theater, just about everything. Deadlines are not flexible in any sense of the word. The show must go on. Costumes might be unfinished or full of safety pins. Actors may fuck up lines, but if they keep going no one in the audience can tell. Sets from the back look like safety hazards. If you get too close to anything painted, it'll start to look like a bad Monet. Lighting doesn't get much leeway, but it's not like photons can get sloppy. Audience will notice if it's dark where it shouldn't be. Makeup looks clownish up close to define features. Backstage can be chaos on big shows, but you'd never know it from out in the house. When it gets down to the wire, there's a lot of good enoughing going around. The rule tends to be that things only have to look good from a minimum of 30 feet away.
I drive truck for a living and at least once a week I see some sort of street sign knocked over because a truck took a turn too sharp and knocked it over. And before anyone asks, I only did that once. In the military almost everything is a case of fuck it, no will notice scenario. I've seen it on all levels from privates up to high-ranking officers. Only people who do not do this are master sergeants and senior enlisted BC. They know everything will go to shit if they stop giving fucks.
Buddy went to a rich school that commissioned a stadium. Engineer making the blueprints, fuck it, we don't need all those pillars. Construction crew reading the reduced blueprints, fuck it, we don't need all those pillars. Guy surveying the final product, yeah, that's going to fall. School, fuck it, no one's going to notice. In case you were wondering, someone noticed. Edit. You can look up Allen Eagles Stadium in Texas.
Copy-pasting old contracts and briefs, law. Not just law firms. I see this happen a lot working in government. Mostly mundane stuff which can cause issues with privacy, and I have seen it happen. If the author doesn't remove names, addresses, or even reference or client numbers that are from the last recipient, the new person gets these details inadvertently due to laziness and a lack of attention to detail.
Apparently branding your initials on transplanted organs isn't one of them.
I work for Mars Chocolate, M&M's, and you wouldn't believe how many W's we let go by.
I'm a sex worker, whore. I wear thigh-high socks that go all the way up. They usually want me to keep them on, which works for me because then they don't have to know I don't shave my legs.
Teacher, throwing a kid a point so they pass.
I used to work for a company that made aircraft parts. One foreman had a saying for really minor errors. Don't worry about it, no one will see it from 30,000 feet.
Casino. When I realized 2 hands later that I paid a guy $5 over on a blackjack. It's not worth it to roll back cameras. In answer to your next question, if it's just happened, yes, I will pay someone who I have underpaid. I work for tips, which many people seem to forget, so I want people to win. Obviously, if it's a grievous error, I have to inform someone and fix it, because I'd like to keep my job. But I can't work 8 hours doing math over and over and never make a small mistake.
Medicine. A lot of nurses think that no one will notice if they skim off a patient's pain meds. After a while, they get sloppy and get caught. Happens more often than you think.
Construction electrician. Fuck it, nobody's gonna look above the ceiling anyways.
Taking old equipment home and using it there, it.
3D modeling. Whatever you do starts as something else. Never start with a basic mesh. Start with some other finished project and cannibalize. Software engineer. Fuck it, nobody's gonna notice if I don't give this ridiculously long pull request a proper code review. Retail. We never are allowed our 15-minute paid breaks we are supposed to get every 2 hours, so every so often I go to the back room and go on my phone for 5 minutes. Scandalous, I know.
Tiny tweaks to a person's facial structure when I do portraits. Not enough to alter their appearance, just enough to make it more proportionate. People tend to love it and I never tell them I do it. Sleeping security. I had to actually explain to a guy once that he could not sleep for 7 hours of his 8-hour shift every single night. He seriously picked up a full-time security position on top of a full-time day job, thinking he'd get paid to sleep. WTF? Like, I get it, we all get bored and doze off on occasion, especially on long shifts on shitty sites. But fucking hell, you cannot show up for the express purpose of getting paid to sleep. If I had a nickel for every time a variable like v_error gets set to 0, and then nothing ever touches it for the rest of the code until the end, and then there's a check if v_error equals 0, then throw an error. Sweet error handling.
I work at a bridge for the state as a bridge operator. I work the night shift and am here by myself literally the entire night. My night consists of opening the bridge, closing it for marine traffic. But sometimes I go hours without a boat. So in that time, I either watch TV, play Xbox, or sleep. They don't care about the TV or playing Xbox, as long as we're still doing our job. Sleep is the thing I think all of us do here at my job that we say, they won't notice. And my bosses know that we do. I mean, we're here for hours on end, alone, with a good bit of free time. They know we take naps, but they don't want to catch us taking naps. Like last night, I didn't have a boat from 1 a.m. all the way till when I left at 6:45. You know what I did in that time? I slept. Using products in retail stores. I don't mean consumables, like food or paper towels, I mean durable goods. You have a problem with that door in the back? Need a screwdriver? Get one from hardware, use carefully, put it back. Was it in packaging? Well, from the 20K returns, you've learned how to put stuff back exactly as it came out, especially when you have a reference. It happens most with tools, but can happen with a lot more things. Toys get demoed, radios and speakers get listened to, among others. Most of the time it'll never impact the product in a way that would make it less than new to the customer.
Welder. I used to make elevators. And believe me, sometimes even I myself amazed by how I just don't give a fuck. IT guy. Computer cases without windows. Work at a gas station. We're supposed to pay for hot food, rollers, pizza, etc., but no one ever does. Been there a year and have never been called out on it yet.